Welcome to the Daily Forex Market Analysis, and this is for trading on July 26th, 2019. Just a quick disclaimer here before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. As usual, we'll start off by taking a look at our calendar here. In terms of the news here, the big one was about ECB. So we saw that ECB here did not cut their rates. We were not expecting an interest rate cut. However, their comments were actually so they did not actually make any adjustment this time, but they did make comments that were dovish for upcoming statement here. So if we take a look at the key points here for ECB, no rate cut this time here, but they are signaling a rate cut. And the main statement here was this. The central bank said that it expects the key interest rate to remain at their present level or lower levels through the first half of 2020. So that here shows that ECB may be willing to cut the rate. So they have made changes in the wording from their previous statement, which is dovish for the next, for the September rate statement here. But today there was no change in monetary policy, but Draghi did say that there will be more easing measures, and they are going to basically provide more monetary stimulus in the upcoming month, as well as they are going to take additional measures to stimulate the Eurozone economy. They also said that they will be doing the quantitative easing or large-scale asset purchase, what they used to do before. So a lot of this shows that ECB is willing to act, and ECB is willing to take action. So overall, the message was that this time they didn't do anything. Okay, so the overall, it shows that they are ready to cut rates, but not just yet. And this is what we had talked about yesterday. Market was expecting ECB to take some action this time. And because they did not take action this time, we saw Euro go up quite a bit. So we'll take a look at the charts in just a minute. But that was our Euro here. But going into September, we will likely see more easing from the ECB. Okay, so coming up tomorrow here, not a ton of data here, just the advanced GDP numbers for the quarter for the US here. So it will be, it's an important number for the US. But other than that, we do not have a ton of data. Another thing to keep in mind here is that there were some comments out of the US here saying that they are willing to talk with Iran. So that actually is a positive thing for the statement, positive statement for the markets, because it would give markets a boost. Anytime there's a war, markets don't like that and they tend to drop. So that's a positive thing here. So we'll see what happens there. All right, so let's move on to the charts here. So we'll start off by taking a look at our euro dollar here. So here we have euro dollar. So this is what we saw. Initially, euro dropped here when ECB came out, but then we saw this big push here to the upside all the way into 1.1180 or 90 here. And then it has since been dropping here. So we did have this inefficient move, which I am looking to see. I'm looking to see if it'll get filled here. So this is what we saw. So looking at our chart here, basically we have a large spinning top here. And as we can see, price moved in both directions right into this previous support resistance level here. So this is looking neutral here. But overall, though, I am not bullish here on euro. So basically, I would look for price to pull back into this 1.11 55 level, and if it stays below that level, I would look for a drop, or all the way into this high at 1.1180. And if it holds below this, I would look for a drop from there. But overall, the candle close for today is neutral, but I'm looking for maybe a bit of a pullback for another drop. And now going into next week here, the focus will be on the Fed, and we're likely to see more reaction out of that. But this is what we have for Euro today. So looking at the pound here, pound did go up as well with the euro. The two currencies are related. They have positive correlation, and they tend to move in the same general direction. But later it did drop. So today we have a bearish candle close here for pound dollar. Yesterday it was bullish, but we had talked about how if price stays below the high, it's likely to drop. So we got that. Now looking for price to drop further, and I would look for a potential pullback here into 1.1280 and then a further drop here. Target is 1.2380. Now, we do have GDP numbers coming out for the US tomorrow. If the numbers are negative, we are likely to see the US dollar drop, and that will impact all the dollar crosses. So just keep that in mind, that all the dollar crosses will be impacted, and there's really no other news. So keeping that in mind, as well as the summer low liquidity conditions, just remember that markets can have exaggerated moves during this time. So be aware of that. But biases to the downside here, 1.2480 will be the pullback level, and then a drop. 1.2380 is the target. Aussie dollar here. Aussie, yesterday we were looking for a drop. We got a nice drop here. So bias is still bearish and looking for price to come back down into the support level at 0.6920. So bearish bias here for Aussie dollar. New Zealand dollar here. Yesterday we had an indecision candle, but today we have a nice bearish candle close here. So bias is bearish. And first target is 0.6630, then 0.6600. And beyond that, we are looking at the base of this candle here, which is 0.6565. So bias is bearish here for New Zealand dollar. Next one, dollar CAD here. We were looking for a move to the upside. We have that. We are right into this resistance level though. And price hasn't quite broken that yet. But the candle close here is bullish. So we are finally out of this range that price had been trading in for several weeks here. So bullish bias here. However, this is not out of the danger zone yet. Because we could see price, if price does not go through the high, it could drop. So keep that in mind. So, so this is what we're looking for. If it stays below 1.3165, it's likely to drop. However, bias is bullish, and I'm looking for price to go into 1.32 and then 1.3220 level. So bullish bias here for dollar CAD. Silver has dropped. So looking for price to drop again. We could get a pullback, something like that, and then a drop. So just into 16.50 and looking for it to drop here. Target is 16.15, so bearish bias for silver. Gold also had a drop. It tried to go through yesterday's high, but failed to hold it. So we have a bearish bias here, bearish candle close for today. Nice bearish engulfing candle here. So looking for price to drop again. Potential pullback into 1420 and then a drop into 1400. So bearish bias here for gold. Second target is 1385 here. So bearish bias for gold. Oil here, oil, we have a doji. This is bearish. The pin shows rejection here. So looking for price to drop, we could get a pullback into the 56.35 and then looking for a drop. 54.80 is the first target, and then 54.20 will be the second target for oil. Copper here, nice big bearish pin bar. Yesterday, it went up into this level we had marked at 2.69. And now we have a bearish close here. We may get a pullback into 2.68, but we may not because that has been tried already. Bias is bearish, looking for price to drop. 2.62 is the target here. So bias is bearish for copper. Bitcoin here, it's still maintaining its bearish kind of a downtrend line here. And if it breaks through the support level, this one right here, we have a little triangle going, which is a bearish signal. So we could see a drop like this. So bias is bearish. As long as it stays above the 94.50 level, it can go higher. But once it breaks through, we're looking at 90.50 as the first target, 84.60 as the second target for Bitcoin. S&P 500, this is looking bearish actually. So we have a double top here. So we could see price drop. We talked about this, the market is into all-time highs. So we just need to be careful here. Today's candle close is bearish. I will look for it to drop back towards the bottom of the range. It's been trading in this range for several days here. So it's rejected the high. So looking for it to drop now. 29.50 or 29.60 is the target here for S&P 500. NASDAQ here, this one as well, it did try to go higher, did not manage to break the high of yesterday's candle. So we have a bit of a neutral candle here. This one, it does have bearishness, but it has pins on both sides. Pins on both sides of the body and the body small. So it's a spinning top, which is an indecision candle. So at this point, I will look for price to test the high. And if it stays below, I will look for it to drop. So that's the move I will look for as long as it stays below the high. But if it goes through, we're looking at 81 as the target. All right, DAX here, big drop here in DAX. So that's looking bearish. Now we could get a pullback into 12,450 and then a drop here. 12,200 is the target. So bearish bias here. So with the equity markets, because ECB did not do anything and the markets were expecting a response, or they were expecting ECB to do something, it basically expectations didn't get filled, and that's why it has dropped. So bias is bearish here. FTSE here also dropped, bias is bearish. We are finally below this range here. So bearish bias, first target is 74.40, second target 73.80. Bearish bias for FTSE. Nikkei here looking bearish as well, and first target is 21,500, and second target here would be 21,350. So bearish bias here for Nikkei as well. Any questions before we wrap it up? All right, no questions. So you guys have a wonderful evening, and I will see you on Sunday. Bye for now.